Welcome back. Okay, so now we're working on the final interior elevation required for the kitchen area. We have the washroom area that you will be doing using the same techniques, but you'll be doing that without the demonstration or the assignment video. So we're going to complete the kitchen elevations and we're going to move on to elevation D. So as you'll recall, we've done B, we've looked this way. We've also looked at C, this one. Now we're doing the last one, which is D, and it has a bit more stuff in it, but we can move through it using the techniques that we've already applied. So let's go ahead and start as we've done in the past by taking the plan and orienting it. Our original plan was right reading this way, but we've rotated it with each interior elevation counterclockwise about 90 degrees, or about counterclockwise, yeah, about from 9, in this case, from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Now we're up at 12 o'clock. So basically, that orientation will go across the top and will be pointed down on the plan, just as the others were as well. So let's go ahead and tape this plan down so we can start on this drawing. Okay, and we're going to want to grab a new sheet. While you're doing that, not a bad idea to keep the previous plan available. Okay, so this was our B elevation. Here is our C elevation. You can see I labeled it here so I know which one it is. And you can see the rough out, so it'll be easy to fix just a little bit later when we go to the final. So, and with that, we also want to have our example so we can see all the stuff that's going to go on this elevation. So based on that, let's tape down our next sheet. Again, we want that to be, close to the center of the drawing. So as we project down on the drawing, then we can have room to place all the different parts and pieces of the elevation. All right, so we'll get that in place, and that is good. Okay. And all right. Now, so just as we've done before, we're going to establish that the ceiling height has not changed. It's 8 foot. So we're going to establish a floor line, and then we're going to draw a horizontal line there and mark it FF. So, a little bit of a tape problem here. Let's get rid of that. Put a new piece on. Here's one right here. This should work better. Okay. All right, so horizontal line, lining up, or approximately lining up, so we can place the overhead ceiling height line in there, and that's at 8 foot. So we're going to put that line in. And then we're going to put in, again, the soffit line. I believe, where are we at? Here we are. So we have a kitchen line, 8, and a soffit line, 7. So we're going to mark that. Okay, so we have our heights. Now we're going to line up with our elements and features within that elevation view. So looking at the plan down below, you can see that we're going to start at the left side, which is this corner right here. Remember, inside, not outside, but we want to be inside that view. We're going to see a kitchen window. We're going to see a whole bank of cabinets coming across here, and we're going to stop our elevation just a little bit shy. It'll be lining up with this dashed line over here, and so we'll have a little bit of an offset with the cabinetry, but it should work out fine. So based on that, let's set our boundary lines, and starting at the ceiling line and coming down, that's going to give us our left-hand side. And then on our right-hand side, we project down along that dash line, which is our that's our overhead soffit line or overhead floor line. And we're going to stop it there. So now here is the box, the rectangle that we're working with. I'm going to go ahead and mark my floor, fin floor. FF, ceiling, I can mark that as a ceiling line. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this line in just a little bit darker so we can see it a bit better. Okay, so now our rectangle represents everything that's going to be in the view, just like we've done before. So using the same methods, we're going to start on the left, we're going to find edges of objects, and we're going to mark them. And then once we've completed that, we're going to go ahead and mark the heights as applicable from the section information here, which is right here, and the text information that's provided. So let's do that quickly and see if we can't get this this drawing done in a quick and orderly fashion. So starting at the left, the first edge I come to is the window opening. I'm going to set a line there. Next line is going to be the other side of the window opening, which is right here. So I've got that point. A little in from there is our edge of our overhead cabinet. So I'm going to line up on that. It's going to be more upper, so I'm going to set it up higher. Then we have a dash line kind of down below. That's a dishwasher. So we're going to place that kind of low on the plan, and so that we know where that is. So those dash lines represent the dishwasher, and that's going to be placed right here. Okay, so the rest of it is cabinetry that extends all the way over to here. So our cabinets go from here to here overhead, but at the base cabinets, they go from here to here. Now, in this elevation, we're not going to necessarily be concerned about this cabinet extending in front. Although for comparison purposes, we might want to include that as it provides us with a little bit of context on the wall beyond. But normally I would focus just on that wall and not on the cabinetry that's at the pantry. But I'm going to go ahead and include it for this exercise. Okay, so we have that wall is that pantry is established right here. So we'll come back to that in a bit. So we have the window opening. Next line, we have the pantry line, a line of pantry cabinets. Then down below, we have the start of a dishwasher. Then we have the window closure. Then we have the overhead cabinets. Then the dishwasher again, and then the edge of all the cabinets. That's all we've got to deal with. So now I'm going to go back to our section and elevation. So we know how tall the cabinets are. We should know them from elevation B and partly from elevation C. So we know that that is 36 inches. So we're going to go ahead and draw that. So drawing that in, that line's going to extend all the way across. Now we may break this line up on the left side just a little bit later, but that's the top of the counter. Now in this elevation, we're going to see a little bit more. We're actually going to see the edge of the countertop. So that's a couple inches. So we'll want to give ourselves a little bit of thickness for that. Okay, so we've got our countertop, our top of countertop, top of cabinet, which is underneath the countertop. And now we're going to go down to the toe kick, which is at 4 inches. And we're going to run a line across there. There's a horizontal. Then we're going to call for a 4-inch splash up at the top that follows across. Now, it might not be known, but the kitchen greenhouse window sits a little bit above the other windows in that it has to be above the splash. So the sill condition of that window will be at 40 inches or 3'4". So that's why I carried that line all the way across here, because we don't want water splashing in behind the sink and going down into that greenhouse feature. So it's elevated up just about 4 inches. Okay, so now that we have that in place, we know that our overhead cabinets, we know where they start left and where they go to the right, but we need to know about their heights. So we know that they're going to extend all the way up to the soffit line, but they need to start at 18 inches according to our information here. 18 inches above the countertop for the lower portion of that upper cabinet. So I'm marking that, and there we go. That goes right there. So that's where the upper cabinet is. We have a bank of cabinets here. Here's where the dishwasher is. Here's where the sink is, somewhere in behind here. And some of this will be hidden because of the pantry cabinets that are kind of encroaching in front just a bit. But we'll get to that towards the end of this demonstration. All right, so our soffit extends all the way across. And we can stop it at the face of the pantry cabinets. So it's going to have a little notch in it like the other elevations have. This will now we're into a position of putting in the same divisions we did before to find the cabinet door arrangements and their placements. So we're going to go ahead and look at that now. In basing our elevations here, we're going to say that these cabinets, let me take a look here. I'm just doing a quick check. Okay, so 6. Okay, so our overhead cabinets are going to line up a little bit with our overhead cabinets, and our base cabinets are going to have some alignment. They're not going to be perfectly aligned, but the divisions should be observable. So if I take the edge of the cabinet here and I say that that's 6 feet of cabinets, then I'm going to break this thing up into, according to this illustration here, we're going to have 4 divisions in it. So that means each one of those cabinet doors is going to be approximately 18 inches each, or 1.5 feet each. So I'm going to go ahead and mark each one of those. You could also use the crisscross method if you wanted to kind of speed that process up a bit. Let's make sure we're on the right place here. Yeah, okay, I'm a little off. I'm going to redo that. There we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and draw those lines in first. There's 1, 2, 3, and that's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions, same as our representation. Now we're going to extend our, we're going to align this cabinet door edge with the cabinet or the drawers down below. And for purposes of this exercise, we're going to make each of these drawers 6 inches 6 inches high, and from there we'll be able to kind of space them and have a little bit left over for a larger drawer at the bottom. So first thing I'm going to do is extend the line down to create the drawers right here, and I'm going to go ahead and identify that each one of those is 6 inches. So we got a little bit of a tape thing there. Okay, so Oh, we bumped our camera. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so here we go. 6 inches. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. 1, 2, 3, and then the last one's just going to be big. So here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 cabinets or drawers. Now, the doors next to it will simply be equal spacing for the doors in the space that's left over. That looks to be about 18 inches. So we're going to, I'm sorry, that's 1 foot, 2 foot. That's 30 inches. So it's going to be 1 foot 3. There we go. Or I'm going to do the crisscross method because it'll just go a little faster. There's 1, there's 2, and there's our center of that cabinet. Now, if you think about it, the appliance isn't necessarily integrated into the cabinetry. There's a little gap there, so you might want to think about placing a little bit of a space on each side of the dishwasher. So we'll draw that in. Do the same thing on the other side. All right, so there's our dishwasher, and it goes from the floor height up to the under counter condition. So we've got, and it also has the same kick height. That's a panel that is part of that appliance that comes off and is part of that assembly. So now as we look at the remaining piece of cabinetry, that has to do with the sink, the base sink or the base cabinet under the sink. And so what we want to do is make sure that the sink is somewhat centered on the cabinet doors. And so there may be a slight variation in the sink placement, but this is how some of the refinements occurs as we're building these different drawings. So having done that, we're going to bisect the doors so that we know where those divisions occur. So I'm going to use the crisscross method again. And I'm going to finish with the pantry side view with a kick. And it stops at the soffit line right up there. Now, if you look, you can see some dash lines on the example right here. There's some dash lines here which indicate there's stuff kind of happening behind the pantry cabinet, and so we're just making reference to it. One of them is the edge of the window, the greenhouse window, and where the counter continues and where the splash is. So those are all going to be represented as dash lines in this part of the drawing. So I'm going to start with carrying the splash across, put some dashes in there, do the same thing for the countertop. And then I'm going to put in the edge of the greenhouse window, and that will also come across. And the greenhouse window is a little taller, so it's going to go up just under the soffit line. You can see that in the example. And we don't have to get too articulate with that at this stage, but that's, so I've got all the parts and pieces I need here. I'm going to go ahead and hard line in some of this a little better so you can see it. Put in the countertop. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and place the door swing indications or indicators on here, the kind of dot dash applications. That'll be 1 foot 3, or I could do the crisscross method again, whichever works. I've got that marked at about there. Let's see how far off we are. Pretty close. Okay, so that means there's one here, and one here. So setting my triangle, actually it's pretty close. And we're going to go ahead and put in the dot dash for the indicator on the cabinets. And that one can be cleaned up a little better. We'll fix that in a bit. I think I forgot one. I'll come back in and put that in. And there and there. Okay, so with the basic cabinets put in here, we're going to do the same thing down here. So we got to find the method. Let's see, let's get ourselves situated on this piece, which is there and there. And so that height is going to be right there. Okay, and all right, so we've managed to get a great deal of information in here. We have a little bit more sprucing up to do. As I mentioned, we want to, after we get it blocked out, take a look at it and look at the particular details of it to make sure that we haven't left anything out. Let's see, let's do one other quick note is that it's good to show a dashed representation of the sink. See where we're at here. There's that. Okay, and then the sink extends below. You can use the floor plan if you need a little bit more information about the sink, but I've just shown how far it goes into the cabinet and how far, what our depth of our sink is at that point. So I'm going to clean up a couple dashed lines over here, but I think we're pretty close. All right, so we have the window, we have the overhead cabinets, we have the drawers. We want to put some hardware on there, some pulls, and you can see those as represented here horizontally, and vertically we have the pulls for the cabinets here. You might want to kind of take a look at the sink faucet and see if you can kind of eyeball that a little bit. Just take a look at what you have in your own home. That may be a good reference for the size of a sink faucet fitting. So we have the dishwasher. We show the fact that it does open vertically. And so we're going to kind of show that a little bit here. It's not critical, but it's nice detail. Okay, so now that we have drawn all this information, we're coming down to the very close of the assignment, and that includes how do we arrange this information. So we're going to take a look at that as I kind of dismantle this drawing. You can start to see what our next goal is. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're taking this, setting him aside. Okay, so this is our drawing. So this is a better image of it. It's a little easier to see now. But that has all the basic parts that we looked at in the previous example. So that's why we're going to now need to redo this in a final form. But before we do that, we want to think about how does it arrange itself? How does it get placed on a sheet? So let's go back to our assignment format sheet. And the things that we want to look at are, we've got elevations. They're not all the same size, but they are arranged where we have each one provided. We're going to do the kitchen and the top block. We're going to give a title down below, we're going to give a scale. We're going to label them, especially in the kitchen, it's going to say B interior elevation, C interior elevation, and then it's going to say D interior elevation. You want to try to space those out in such a way that they're thoughtfully and well placed as an organized drawing. So that's why using small sheets is easier to do it versus doing a large sheet. So you can tape this all down and then place your 11 by 17 on there and make micro adjustments. Then do your final drawing on that if you'd like, or you could do the well, it's probably the easiest way because you're going to want to represent those that way. So go ahead and tape it down, get them all squared out or squared away, and get them situated on the plan so that they support this format. Do the same thing with the washcloth or with the the washroom, the toilet room, because it's going to have different elevations. Remember, we talked about it earlier in the assignment in that the washroom is going to have elevations A, C, and D. So it's not going to have it if we were doing this same arrangement, we would have A pochade because that has stuff going on. B doesn't have very much going on, so we're not going to spend any time with that one. C, looking this way, does, because we get some cabinetry and the tub profile, shower tub profile, and then the sidewall where the tub and the water closet are adjacent to, we're going to need to elevate that. So in the washroom application, we're going to be doing A, C, and D. But when we lay them out on the arrangement, it's still going to say A, we're not going to have a B, it's going to say C, and then it's going to say D. All right, so hopefully that clears it up. We're going to want all the same labeling as necessary to tell folks what's going on. We're going to need the title block with your information on it as necessary. So as we get these drawings finished up, and they don't take very long. They're small drawings, so don't get hung up on over detailing them. Remember, when we do these in construction documents, we'll blow them up much bigger. But these are for schematic design, and they're quite adequate at a 1/4 inch scale. So as we get close to wrapping up the drawing, I want you to complete it as we've described, and then want you to follow the instructions we've kind of set up last week, where we want you to scan the drawing and then upload it to Canvas. It should be a pretty basic operation at this point. Remember, we're doing the reflected ceiling plans first, getting those done. We're going to scan them, upload them. Then we're going to do the interior elevations. We're going to compose them, draw them. Then once that drawing is done, we're going to scan it and upload it. So with that, I want to say that kind of completes our video instruction of this assignment. I wish you good luck with the assignment, and I look forward to reviewing the work and seeing all your good drawings that you produce. So with that, I'll say so long, and thanks for joining me in the video.